Welcome to the Bluffton Biblecast. This episode is part of a special series that deviates from our regular Bible reading plan. In fact, it's totally different. Each episode in this series will interview a Ukrainian family who's currently living in Bluffton and attending our AC churches. These interviews will provide you with the opportunity to get to know them just a little bit, and we hope that you will find their stories interesting, appreciating their past and empathizing with their current challenges. And in doing so, we hope you will find a place of common ground with them, and that by listening, you will be inspired to welcome, love, pray for, and engage these families. So thanks for joining us today. I'm Todd Dreyer, joined by Sarah Fichter, and on today's episode, we have the privilege of talking with Viktoriia and her children Yaroslav and Violetta.
Hello, everyone. This is Sarah. To help you visualize our makeshift setup here, Viktoriia, Yaroslav, Violetta, Todd, and I are gathered in a Bluffton North Sunday School room, sitting around a small table filled with mics and headphones. We're going to attempt an interview style with planned questions, but the language barrier will make this interesting. Viktoriia, Yaroslav, and Violetta came to Bluffton with very little English and are learning more and more every day. We will be asking our questions in English, and Todd's Russian-speaking friend Niso has been kind enough to join us remotely to help translate.
And we'd like to say a special thank you to Viola Wolf, who plays the American voice of Viktoriia. So let's start out with some of the basics. First, just tell us your name and a little bit of information about you.
Привет, меня зовут Виктория.
My name is Viktoriia, and our American family in Bluffton is Clint and Sarah Fichter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yaroslav. I'm 16. I'm going to Bluffton High School.
Hi, my name is Violetta. I'm 13 years old and I go to Bluffton Middle School.
So, Violetta, how long have you lived in Bluffton?
4 months.
Okay, so you arrived at the end of July.
Yes.
Okay, so Yaroslav, what was your home city in Ukraine?
Mariupol.
Mariupol. Okay, is that close to Russia?
Yeah.
It's very close, sort of on the border, I think, or close to the border?
Yeah.
Okay. What is the climate like in Mariupol?
It's probably same like here.
So you have winters and summers?
Yeah, it's same.
Okay. So Violetta, what's one thing that you miss about Mariupol?
I miss about my home and my cat,
Oh, your cat. What's your cat's name?
Duся.
Okay. All right, Viktoriia. What's one thing you missed about Mariupol?
Да, я тоже очень скучаю по своему дому, также за кошкой, потому что...
I miss Ukraine in general, but especially my hometown, as it basically no longer exists. Also miss my cat, who I loved very much.
And what job did you have when you lived in Ukraine?
Я работала заместителем
A director who oversees the delivery of purified water for offices.
When did war come to Mariupol?
Война у нас началась 24
The war
февраля.
started in the morning of February 24th. It was just a normal day, and I was getting ready for work, and the kids were supposed to go to school. Unexpectedly, the Russians invaded Mariupol, and they came from everywhere. They came by air, ground, and sea. We could not believe they would kill people and destroy the city. We did not know what to do. We did not let our children go to school. My husband, Roman, went to the gas station to fill the car. I had to go to work. At that moment, bombs were flying over our heads. After about an hour, my husband picked me up from work and drove me home. There was a lot of military equipment in town. In a short time, there was a full-scale war. No one was allowed out of the town. Many of the people who tried to get out were shot, so we dared not go out of town.
What are a few memories that come to your mind when you think about that time?
Это было
March 2nd was the last time we had
Очень
electricity, water, and gas. It was very cold. We took water from the drains when it rained or we gathered snow. We slept in our clothes and cooked on fire.
What happened on March 12th?
Это был вообще обычный день.
At 4 a.m., Roman and Violetta were staying in the apartment basement, but Yaroslav and I were in our 5th floor apartment, and the planes dropped air bombs, one of which fell near our apartment. The explosion shook the apartment badly. Windows, frames, doors, cabinets, and glass flew at us with tremendous force. Our apartment was completely destroyed and burned. We were left with nothing. Much of our documents and savings were burned.
Wow. Was that scary?
Это не то слово, как это было страшно.
It was indescribable. It was more than scary. Bombs were flying day and night. For a long time, we were looking for shelter. It was very dangerous because the bombs were flying constantly without stopping. Then we were sitting near the destroyed apartment for a long time and didn't know what to do next. We took shelter in an apartment basement.
So you took shelter in the basement, and how long were you in there?
Мы сначала пошли в подвал нашего дома.
We took shelter in the basement for 2 months. We did not have light, heat, or water and survived the best we could. These memories are very hard. We slept on the floor in hats and boots. We got water from the rain and snow. There were about 300 people in the basement. It was not very safe.
I see. So Yaroslav and Violetta, can you tell me any memories that you have from this time?
In this time, I did not take it into my head and lived at the times as if in a fairy tale.
It seemed really unreal. Sure. What about you, Violetta?
It was so scary.
Was it noisy?
Yeah.
All the time, day and night?
Yes.
Most of the city also, was that destroyed?
Probably all cities destroyed.
Viktoriia, is there anything else you want to tell us about Mariupol or the war?
Да.
For the first 2 months in the basement, we had very little to eat. If anyone had something to eat, we shared it. Sometimes we found food from houses that were already burned. But there was no electricity to bake or cook. And of course, it was scary because we did not know what would happen tomorrow. The war did not stop. We did not know what day of the week it was. Our car was in the garage, and for a long time we could not go check on it because there was a lot of shooting from tanks and grenade launchers. In late April, Roman and I decided to go look at our car. We hoped it was not broken. When we came out of the basement, we had a long way to go. We had to walk very carefully. There were many unexploded shells under our feet. Our car was not damaged. We could not leave the garage for a long time because the battery had died and the exit path was completely covered with shrapnel from the explosion. We asked people to help clear away the rubble. My husband and I also helped people as much as we could. The explosions did not stop for 4 months. On May 1st, we left Mariupol. The area around Mariupol was also surrounded by the military. It was very difficult to move around. We were often stopped at checkpoints and our documents were checked. We spent 3 days sleeping in the middle of a field in a car and were not allowed to go any further. On May 15th, we finally reached a city only 3 hours away, but it took us 14 days to get there.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
I have one story. So when it started, most people and Russians start to destroy some stores and stole the food or something. And one time I went to one of mall to get some food home. And after this, when I got out from there, like 15 or 20 minutes, and they burned it and bombed. Yeah.
Oh, so a really close call.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, we thank God you're alive today. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Viktoriia, how did you hear about the opportunity to come to America?
Мы, когда у нас получилось уже выехать на Украину, на территорию Украины, В тот же день, это было 15
Because of the
мая.
desperate situation in Ukraine, I made contact with the person in the church in Kyiv, inquiring about getting at least the kids out of Ukraine. Unfortunately, the kids did not have active passports and our documents had been destroyed. Therefore, they could not leave. So we tried to start the paperwork, but it seemed impossible, and I lost hope that they would be able to leave Ukraine. But after several weeks, this contact person reached back out to me, saying that she knew a pastor in America, near Chicago, that could help. We told him our story, and he made arrangements for us to come to America. The law required that an adult travel with the children. Therefore, my husband and I made the difficult decision that I would travel with the kids and my husband would stay in Ukraine.
Thank you, Viktoriia, for sharing that. So there's a pastor in the Chicago area that had a contact with a church in Kyiv, and that's how they got matched. Pastor Florian from the Chicago area was connected to Decatur and Bluffton and Bern families, and we were connected to Florian. Now I'm going to move to Violetta. Violetta, tell me, how did you feel about leaving Ukraine and coming to a strange place?
It was unusual.
Yaroslav, what about you?
I feel not really different because I travel a lot. But it's a little bit scared because I don't like a flight. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, you've already spent 2 summers in America. Is that correct?
Yes.
What state?
Oregon.
Oregon. It was kind of a student exchange program with your church, correct?
Probably, yes.
Something similar to that.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is why you came with a little English, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yaroslav, can you speak for yourself and on behalf of your mom and sister, what has been the hardest part in coming to America?
Really difficult being documents and flight. Yeah.
What about actually living here?
Самое сложное сейчас здесь, в Америке, для меня это находиться вдали от дома, к сожалению, которого сейчас уже больше
The
нет.
hardest part is being far away from my home, and unfortunately, my home does not exist anymore. It is also very difficult not knowing what tomorrow will bring and where we will live after 2 years.
Yeah, that would be a hard thing to do, to think about your future. Okay, now I'm going to move to Violetta. Violetta, has there been anything you've enjoyed about America?
Yes, it's people. They so nice.
Mm-hmm. And what about school?
Sometimes it's hard, but I like it.
It's been so challenging with the language barrier.
Yeah.
But you are doing a lot of your lessons in English, aren't you?
Yes.
It's amazing. What about ballet? Do you like ballet?
Yes.
What about you, Yaroslav?
I enjoy football this year. It's my first time. Yeah. It's achievement.
Achievement?
Yeah, for me.
What position did you play on the football team?
Kicker.
And you're really good at it.
Yeah.
It was a good season, wasn't it?
I think, yes.
Yeah, a little cold, though.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yaroslav is used to playing soccer indoors, so the Indiana cold fall was a little bit hard for the football practice.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to share, Yaroslav, about being in America?
People are really kind. They really want to help us, and we're really thankful for this.
Thank you for sharing. Viktoriia, what would you like to share about America?
Мне очень понравилось в первую очередь это люди.
The people are very kind, caring, and helpful to us in our need. The town of Bluffton is very quiet and nice. The quiet, peaceful environment is good for us right now.
Yeah, I told Viktoriia before she came it's going to be quite the culture shock coming from a very big city to a small town Bluffton. But they have put up with the quietness pretty well, and I think it's been healing in this time. Okay, so this podcast is going out to our church, the Bluffton and North and Bluffton Country churches, and We just wanted to remind the three of you, Viktoriia, Yaroslav, and Violetta, that our church loves you, we support you, and we would like to know if there be any way that we can support you better in this time.
Мы тоже очень любим каждого, кто знает нас.
We love the people who have supported us. We want to say a big thank you to everyone who has supported us, loved us, and taken care of us. We very much appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for sharing that, Viktoriia. During this difficult time, has it been hard to trust in God?
Бог очень давно
God has watched over and helped us. He has got us out of the war and kept us alive. He has allowed us to be here now. He has given us electricity, food, and a roof over our head.
As we wrap up this interview, I think it'd be really important to let the church know how to pray for your family. And one pressing prayer request would be for your husband, Roman, and the kids' dad. Viktoriia, could you share a little bit about what Roman's experiencing right now?
Да, мой муж сейчас остался в Украине, и там тоже очень
My
сложная
husband is in
ситуация.
Ukraine right now, and the situation there is very difficult. The jobs in Ukraine are very limited and pay is very little, so he does not have a job. Sometimes there is electricity in his apartment, sometimes there is not. He stays in the apartment most of the time and tries to keep warm. We hope that he can find a way to come to America. We are thankful for everyone who is praying for him.
Thank you for sharing about Roman, Viktoriia. Well, we thought we were finished with this interview, but here's a quick add-on. We recorded Viktoriia's interview on December the 12th. The prospects of her husband Roman getting out of Ukraine seemed near impossible. We had asked many of our family and friends, including the Bluffton North AC Church, to pray that God would open a pathway for Roman to get out of Ukraine. We prepared the necessary paperwork and waited. It is now January 23rd, and we wanted to share some very exciting news with you before we publish this episode. Roman miraculously received permission to leave Ukraine and will be arriving in Bluffton very soon to be reunited with his family. They've been separated 7 months. We are all very surprised and grateful for this turn of events. Viktoriia would like to pass on her deep gratitude to those who prayed for their family during this season. Asking the church to pray and then watching God move has been a faith-strengthening experience for all of us. Thank you for your kindness and care. And to wrap up this interview, we just want to thank Viktoriia and Yaroslav and Violetta for taking time and energy. I know it costs some emotionally to share some really traumatic experiences with everybody, but we hope that it raises awareness on how to encourage this family. Feel free to come find them at church and welcome them to America. They enjoy making connections with people. So thank you so much for listening to the Bluffton Biblecast.